traveler was riding by that day and stopped to hear him a-practicing away. His cabin was afoot, his feet were wet. Still the old man didn't seem to fret.
I have recently gotten over a cold, chest cold, and so every once in a while I might be going, so now you know what's wrong with me. I already know what's wrong with you. So we're even. If you haven't been to one of these meetings before, my name is Justin. I'll talk for a while. And then if you have any comments or questions, you certainly will get a chance to have a go at that. And we'll see how this goes, okay? I want to start with something that I know we can all agree on, and that this creative process that makes things happen has made things happen uh, had, has created this human being, and all human beings, along with all the other creatures and things, has put some goodies in the human experiment, in the human package, that are extraordinary and unique. Uh, what we don't all realize is that we know some of them and others we don't know. We're aware of some of those goodies that have been placed within this human package, and we're unaware of others. We're of course aware of that we have opposing thumbs. We don't have opposing thumbs. We do have opposable thumbs. But I only have one thumb. It means like this. Yeah, we have opposable thumbs, but some people are what they say is all thumbs. So there's a range even within the gift and the goodies that were placed within this human package of, the capacity of those goodies. And some things, you know, musical talent, artistic talent, even reading, if a person wants to read something subtle and maybe complex, that person has to train themselves to some degree with this reading. So even the goodies that we're given, the ability to conceive of all kinds of things to get together like this, definitely unique parts of the human package. The ability to adapt to myriad circumstances, which has allowed human beings to move north and to get warm and to grow vegetables and to create all kinds of external beauty. Remarkable capacity placed within the human package, but somewhat subjective because with some people that capacity is developed more, and some people have what they started with and not developed so much at all. That's clear with musical ability. If you want to be able to if you can play a little on the piano, but you want to play Mozart or Beethoven or Brahms, you have to develop that human gift of being able to do that. Not only the invention of the piano or a musical instrument, but exercising the playing of that instrument. There are very few things that have been goodies that have been placed within the human package that don't require some kind of development to to maximize, to really appreciate the possibility that's been placed in there. And it brings up an interesting subject because we're talking about these goodies, these capacities placed within human beings, which we know about. And I'm presenting there are some that we don't know about, that are not in the range of common knowledge and are not in the anthropological studies, but happen to be there as well. And they are the capacity to follow a gift that's been given to us in the form of light and sound within inside ourselves, and to listen and to see within inside ourselves this light and sound, and to follow that primal energy in the form of light and sound back to its source, back to where it comes from. To leave ourselves and our separateness behind, to leave our personalities and our individuality behind, and to actually realize the nature of the human race by following this gift that's been placed inside every human being, every single human being. Now, this presents a problem, and why I asked for the Arkansas Traveler song to be played, because I didn't ask it to be played because I lived in Arkansas for 2.5 years, and I am an Arkansas traveler. Although I am susceptible to the disease of the Arkansas traveler, or the Arkansas guy with the roof, the leaky roof. And I want to talk about that a little. I've written down the words, so I'm going to read the words to you so you can get some idea of why I'm including this in here. Once upon a time in Arkansas, an old man sat in his little cabin door and fiddled at a tune that he liked to hear, a jolly old tune that he played by ear. You got it so far? That's the easy part. It was raining hard, but the fiddler didn't care. He sawed away at the popular air. Though his rooftop leaked like a waterfall, that didn't seem to bother the old man at all. A traveler was riding by that day and stopped to hear him fiddling away. The cabin was afloat and his feet were wet, but the old man didn't seem to fret. So the stranger said, "Now the way it seems to me, you'd better mend your roof," said he. But the old man said as he played away, "I couldn't mend it now, it's a rainy day." The traveler replied, "That's all quite true, but this, I think, is the thing for you to do. Get busy on a day that's fair and bright, then patch the old roof till it's good and tight." But the old man kept on a-playing at his reel and tapped the ground with his leathery heel. "Get along," said he, "for you give me a pain. My cabin never leaks when it doesn't rain." That's the Arkansas national song, but it's the American national practice. A practice, almost you might say, an affliction that we all suffer from. That unless something is clearly malfunctioning to us, we don't do anything about it. And it may be malfunctioning according to someone else, but unless it's malfunctioning to our judgment, we don't do anything about it. Or if we do something about it, stimulated by somebody else's displeasure, our alterations are always cosmetic because we want to look better in their eyes. Not to look better, period. Not to be better, period. But to look better in their eyes. So the stimulus of our embarrassment or our self-image is that we proceed to cosmetically alter our behavior so we look better, not so that we are better. We only act to become better when we are displeased ourselves with the way we are, not when other people are displeased with how we are. I'm going to repeat this. When other people are displeased with how we are, we will do something about it because we're very concerned with our self-image. But everything that we do will be some alteration cosmetically of our behavior so we look better because we're concerned about how we look to that other person. We only alter our own behavior if we ourselves are displeased with that behavior and has nothing to do with how we're seen from anybody else. Now, this is a major issue because if we understand that every human gift, every human goodie that's been placed within this experiment on the part of the creation has the necessity to refine and the possibility of refining so that it can appreciate more subtlety, so that it can appreciate more beauty, so that it can appreciate more meaning and more depth. It's important that this additional gift of which we are barely aware, that the breadcrumbs of the trail of light and sound has been placed within inside of us to follow back to the source, that even that resource has to be clarified, purified, and refined, and the obstacles to it be removed. So when we're presented with the idea of meditation, and everyone here has been presented with the idea of meditation, we think, I can do that. I'm going to try that. That sounds good. I'll give that a try. But certainly if we're tinklers on the piano or strummers of, what do they call the cowboy chords on the guitar, and somebody says, here's a piece, play it. We would certainly say, I'd have to work on this for a while to be able to exercise the subtlety of that gift, to exercise the proficiency of that gift. We would never say, okay, let me give that a try. Da, 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 da. We would have to do something to refine and reveal that capacity within us. The ability to read a complex scientific manual, or even to read Finnegan's Wake, or Brothers Karamazov, or Moby Dick, requires a certain capacity to read and appreciate, to be able to stay with the sentences, to be able to feel them with yourself as they're coming toward you. You can't just place that book in front of a child that knows the letters and knows how to read Dick and Jane See It Go and expect that that child is going to be able to assimilate and appreciate that story. But when it comes to the idea of this other gift, this inner gift, this gift of the tale of the breadcrumbs of light and sound, which we can touch in on and follow and actually become part of what might be called a human race rather than a separateness in that human race, we assume that we can do it. No refinement is necessary. This is a problem because this idea of meditation has been disseminated. And we imagine that we can do it without refinement. And I can tell you that you cannot. You might be able to pursue some cosmetic alteration in your behavior. You might be able to slow down a little. If you sat still and did anything or did nothing, you would be able to slow down a little. But the possibility of connection with the energy that maintains life in the form of light and sound would not be available to you unless, as an instrument, as a human instrument, that gift in you were refined. Some of those obstacles of negative reactions, some of those obstacles of jealousy and competition, some of those obstacles of rushing, all would have to decrease, decrease, decrease for you to be able to follow those breadcrumbs of light and sound back to where they originated. But this is a challenge because the Arkansas traveler says, my cabin doesn't leak when it doesn't rain. And our appearance to ourselves is that we're generally okay. And we only make alterations, and we do make alterations cosmetically when we're seen in ways that we would rather not be seen. We make excuses. We hide from certain circumstances. We gravitate towards certain people. We gravitate away from other people because we have a full-time job of cosmetically affecting our personality, our presentation, so that people will like us and appreciate us and include us. But the refinement necessary to meditate doesn't come from that. It doesn't come from a cosmetic alteration. It comes from you being displeased with who you are. You being displeased with who you are. The Arkansas traveler would have to be displeased with his situation, not with somebody else saying, this is what you have to do. I'm not okay with your circumstances. You have to be not okay with your circumstances, the circumstances you have created, not the external circumstances, not your situation, but what have you made out of the gift that you are? Or have you become a refined instrument that can go within inside and meditate on that gift of life and light and sound that's been given to every human being? Now, definitely I recognize the challenge because accepting that you are less than you could be according to you goes very much against everything you've been trying to do for your whole life. Everything. You have arranged your life and organized who you know and what you do so that you feel good about yourself. And if in a moment you don't feel good about yourself, according to someone else's input or attitude, whether you know it or not, you immediately act to recover that self-image. You will either criticize, well, they don't know what they're doing, or you will find some way to forget it, to put it behind you. You'll find some way to get rid of the stimulus that makes you not feel good about yourself. Now, recently, I live in this trailer behind you part of the time. And recently I was away for a few weeks, and it was a vacant residence, and the wasps, or hornets, whatever they were, recognized that as a vacant resident, and without permission, they moved in. to 6 hives worth, and some under the eaves, some between. You know the way it is in a trailer with they have the wind up tops in between the screen and the wind up tops. To jumbo, very living, beautiful, but not human receptive uh, hives. Now there are things that I have had this trailer and lived part-time in this trailer for probably 15 years. And there are things that have gone wrong with it that I have not fixed. There are things that I have puttered with. There are things that I've decided, no, I can get along without that. Originally it was new, it had a refrigerator. The refrigerator stopped working. And so what do I need a refrigerator? There's a refrigerator in the house. So I didn't fix the refrigerator. And heat, who needs heat? Plug in a heater. You understand? But when it came to the Hornets, there was no question. It wasn't, I can live with a few Hornets. Especially after I got stung. I got stung between the toes. And it only hurt for about 5 minutes, but it hurt. It was one of those deep stinging pains that tells a person these hornets are going. And so some of my friends got together and helped, and we got rid of the hornets. We did that because nobody told me you got to get rid of the hornets. I recognized clearly that I got to get rid of the hornets. And unless you realize yourself and accept for yourself that you are not a candidate, you are too coarse in the way you are not a candidate for reading some things or playing some music or painting something or building some kind of a house or any kind of subtle appreciation that you recognize that you are not capable of doing. In the same way, you are not capable of approaching meditation because your manifestations are too coarse. You have too many negative emotions, many more than you imagine that you have. Now, they're not catastrophic and they're not critical and they're not life stopping. They are just constant. A constant cycle of feeling bad and doing something to get relief to feel better. Somebody looks at you a little bit funny, you do something immediately to feel better. Somebody says something you don't like, you walk in the door of your house and there's something off in the scene, you immediately do something or think something. And very often, if you don't do something, you talk to yourself to make it okay. That level of coarseness, of constantly talking to yourself to make the difficulties that you see, even if they're minuscule, to make them okay, is too coarse for entering the world of meditation on light and sound. Maybe not entering the world of meditation on a candle or an idea or a mantra or a word or something like that. But the level of fineness required to enter that world of light and sound, even from its tail end, requires a refinement that a person has to participate in, just like they would participate in any other refinement. Studying the obstacles to harmonious human life. Studying the nature of negativity that exists and that pervades human existence. Studying the nature of restlessness, how we're always on to the next thing. The sweetness of anything that we build toward never lasts very long, and something else is always added onto it. Always. not recognizing that there is so much filler time in life that we're unaware of, that we don't recognize as appreciable. That we're we're on our way from A to B, and anxious to get to B, or restless to get to B, or think only when we get to B will it be okay. All that time, all those moments in our life between A and B are considered dead time. They're considered no time. They're considered blank time. A life with that much blank time is too coarse to initiate contact and the ability to follow that inner light and sound. And whatever you think, there are no individual remedies to human harmony. It doesn't matter what configuration you put together for yourself. The only true humility comes from actually experiencing the part that we actually are in this creation. It doesn't come from an idea, doesn't come from a philosophy, it doesn't come from Hinduism or Buddhism or Christianity or Judaism or Islam or anything. It comes from the direct realization that we are a product of life and sound, as is everything else. And in order to realize that, a person has to allow themselves to be in a situation where they can actually study the nature of their being, study the nature of the glory of their being and the obstacles to glory in their being. No small undertaking, because we have two categories in our construct. We have pleasant and we have unpleasant. And seeing things about ourselves that are not as they should be. I don't have to finish the sentence. We know the category that's been put in. You have not avoided. It has not eluded you that societal pressure to construct that, to conceive that as unpleasant. That is an unpleasant undertaking. I would rather either forget about it, make an excuse of it, or go someplace where it's not going to show. And with the nature of the flexibility of our lives, the extraordinary flexibility of our lives, we can actually do that. We can move from place to place. We can move our eyes from place to place. If you see some 3 teenagers, maybe they're your teenagers, maybe they're other teenagers, and you see them sitting at a table together, all with a little screen in front of them, not in any way relating to each other, but each relating to a screen. You might think, you guys can't talk to each other. And you're finding a way that you can't talk to each other and finding a way to make it okay, like you're doing something constructive, like you're doing something that you like to do. But in actuality, you can't talk to each other. You've lost the ability to know how to talk to each other. You would see this. Most people here, if not all people, would see this. But when it comes to yourself, you don't recognize the limitations that you've put on the human capacities that you have. because you have either avoided them, eluded them, they've eluded you, or you've altered your explanation of what's happening so that it looks okay. And you arrange the people you know and that you associate with to be people that will agree with you. That will people say, yes, that's okay. Like those three teenagers sitting at a table, each with a screen in front of their face. They will not want to know you if you call attention to their deficiency. You will not want to know me. You don't want to know me. Every once in a while, you'll come by on a Sunday, but you won't want to know me because I represent the possibility of your seeing for yourself, not my opinion about you, but that you can learn to be displeased with yourself. And you can learn to be displeased with yourself and feel good about it. And you can learn to be displeased with yourself and be excited about it because of the doors that that displeasure opens up. Because other people's displeasure doesn't open up any doors at all. But when I came to the realization of the wasp thread, I was able to act and I felt good about it. And my support system, my friends, recognized my plight and were willing to support what I was motivated to do. And that's the nature of a school. A community, a common unity over what's worthwhile. That it's worthwhile to uncover the coarseness that's keeping us from the realization of this inner reality. Not so that we will look better, not so that we'll be happier, not so that our behavior will be altered, although all those things may come to pass. But because we recognize at some level, because we were all born in a flash of light, we were all born in a flash of sound. We came into existence before we were separated entities. We were conceived in a flash of light. We were conceived in a flash of sound. And somewhere inside ourselves, we have never lost the acknowledgement of that reality. It has been covered and recovered and recovered and recovered and recovered. But the nature of its power is that it's never completely lost. So it's always within our capacity to reconnect with that valuation, that it's worth it. This thing that we've conceived of and we've considered unpleasant, to be displeased with our own manifestations, not our circumstances, not other people, not the way we appear to other people, but displeased for ourselves with our manifestations, with our coarseness, with the level of reaction that we have, the level of entertainment that we need to feel okay, the level of diversion that we need to feel okay, the level of talking to ourselves that we do, the level of opinions that we have about what everybody else should do. The level of displeasure we have with everything outside of ourselves. That with the remembrance of that spark that we all were created in, which never leaves us, the valuation for becoming finer instruments, instruments that are capable of witnessing the tail end, that gift that's been placed within inside a human being, as has all these other gifts. But that we, by the nature of reason, that all the other gifts that have been placed inside us get developed. They get developed, they get refined. All these different categories of artistic endeavor, etc. Even the dexterous capacity of our fingers, which some people have more of and some people have less of, have to be refined in order to do some things. The first, if you throw a pot, you know what the first one looks like. It's throw pot, a different pot. And fixing a car, doing carpentry, playing music, all those capacities get refined. We get more into the subtlety, we get more into the creativity, we appreciate the depth of it. This other capacity, of which we are much less, if at all, aware, also has to be refined because it has been covered with all the protective devices that we felt were necessary for the imagined dangers in life to protect our self-image. The ego, the presentation that we've had to develop so that we're included, at least in some isolated circles. So I have established, and I am the expert. I am the man. I am the man. That can show you how to be displeased with yourself. Whoopee. Let's get to know this guy. As I learned to be displeased with myself, starting from arrogance, self-confidence, false, of course, self-confidence, bravado, learning not to react to other people's displeasure with my behavior, but to see in myself that I am not satisfied. And if that were not necessary in order to embrace this maximal gift, this gift of being able to return in the way that it's been given to us to return, not in the way that we made up to return. Om Mani Padme Om, Om Mani Padme Om. We made that up. We made all of it up. We made up all the Christianity, and we made up all the Buddhism, and we made up all the Islam, and we made up all of it. We made up all the New Age ideas. We made them up. You can't say in the beginning there was that. Some people say in the beginning there was a Bible. I don't know what that concept is. But it is idiotic. But in the beginning there was something. There was some human gift that we were given as part of our equipment, as part of the goodies that we're given, along with our senses, along with our potential talents and unique appreciations, along with our sense of humor, which for some people definitely has to be developed. That what if there were, as part of that equipment, an incredible gift that were given to us that we don't have to do anything about except uncover, except let some of the things that drop away to drop away that obscure that gift, that no creation, no made up, no prayer, no mantra, no exercise, no nothing. It's already there. What if that were the case and all we had to do was lighten ourselves a little so that we could reach up to it, grab the ring of it, and follow it, and all the gifts, all the imaginations of what's possible for a human being, the enlightenment, the peace, the lack of strife would be available to us because we would be in that ultimate natural surrounding of walking around recognizing that we are being breathed. We are not breathing without doing any kind of, but naturally realizing what's within inside of us.